of these projected earnings. This, in most cases, makes the investors like you and I lose faith in their ability to fulfill their promises, which reflects in the stock price, typically negatively. And then the last two cons have dilution of shares, where a company creates more shares and dilutes your current ownership of the shares, decreasing the worth of your shares. And of course, you have bankruptcy. And bankruptcy of a company typically means that you lose everything that you invested. But I would say as a note that these two, the dilution of shares and bankruptcy, mostly happens to mid to smaller companies. So this is a risk that you have to think about as well. So before investing, ask yourself, how comfortable am I with market ups and downs? What's my risk tolerance? What's my horizon? Do I invest into something that I believe can grow in the next 10 years? Or is it a 1-year period of a new shiny product or whatever? It's healthy to have a mindset of where's your boundaries. And when you buy stocks and kind of pick eggs to put in your portfolio and in your basket, it is commonly known to pick something which is not in the same sector. So for example, you would maybe pick 1 or 2 stocks in tech, you would pick some in healthcare, and you would also diversify in different countries or in different regions. So for example, you will not have everything invested in, let's say, Europe, then you would also bring in some from USA, emerging markets in Asia, maybe invest in some stocks in China and so on. And that means that if some of your investments take a hit, then hopefully you have other investments, which you also believe in different countries that can take some of this hit. Or they're even correlated in some way that when the American tech stock decreases, this is seen as a good sign in the Chinese tech stock. And then you get a little bit of increase there to pattern out the loss in the US. If you see where I'm getting, instead of just having one stock where you put everything into and you kind of ride that stock, ride or die, if it goes up, it goes up, goes down, it goes down. And then you kind of spread your money out a little bit, still the companies that you believe in, which is well built and hopefully gives you a great return year by year. So with all this extra effort into analyzing and having to dive into the financial as well as the market, as well as these cons and pitfalls and risks, the question is, why is it still important to invest? And this is mainly because of 2 reasons where I will show a quick example in a little bit, but it is mostly due to investing is a way to beat inflation. And secondly, it is a mean or a tool for letting your money work for you. And this has due to the compound effect. But let's take a quick example of inflation. You have a savings account of $1,000, and on that savings account, you have an interest on the deposit of 0.5% per year. Over the next 10 years, you will have gained $50 on interest, meaning that the total amount is $1,050. But at the same time, the rate of inflation is at 2%, which means that even though you've gained the $50 in interest, in the same period of 10 years, your savings has become 20% less worth. Your rent has increased, your water bill, your electricity bill, your insurance, everything has increased except your money. And that is this hollowing out effect. And the main reason that you want to put your money somewhere in a high-interest savings account, you want to buy bonds or stocks. So putting your money, investing in a portfolio that is so diversified that you get the market return. Because if you look at the whole stock market as a whole, on a 100-year basis, for example, and if you average every return out, factoring in all the ups and downs, we get a number which is around 8 to 10%. And the earlier you as an investor invest in the market, the more time your money has to grow. And that's what I've tried to show here with the example with Anna, Bo, and Carl, where you have Anna starting at 20, you have Bo starting at 30, and Carl starting at 40. So you'll see that Anna is investing $200 per month, and so is Bo, and so is Carl, but they start out at different ages. And if we take a scope of 60 years in total, we'll see that since Anna started at 20, she invested for 40 years. And this amounted to an investment of $96,000. But the gains which compounded amounted to $575,000. Then we have Bo, who started 10 years later than Anna, meaning that he only get to invest $72,000 over this 40-year period. And you see already now that this 10-year difference means that his compound gains amounted to half of Anna, which is $221,000. And then at the end, you'll see that Carl, who started investing in his 40s, he only gets to invest for 20 years, a total of 48,000, half of what Anna has invested. But you'll see that even though he invested half of what Anna did, his money did not get to compound over years, and he ends up with 70,000, which only amounts to an eighth of what Anna ends up with. But if we go a little bit deeper and say, but Kyle only invested 48,000 and Anna invested double of that. So if we go here and make it so that even though Kyle starts at 40, he starts out by investing $400, which makes it so that in the end, he has invested the same amount as Anna, also 96,000. And I will see that even though he has invested the very same amount of Anna, this only amounts to 141,000 compared to 575,000, which Anna receives. And this just goes to show that one thing is putting an amount aside to invest, but you also get a huge advantage of your money working for you along all these years and compounding gains upon gains upon gains. And this is why I've made this example to show you the power of compounding. I'll also leave this along with the other tools in order for you to play around with it, if you want to. So up until now, we have talked about what stocks are, how they work, the pros and cons, and also stressed the importance of investing and investing early. And you might be sitting now thinking, okay, how do I begin? How do I find stocks? How do I find companies to analyze further? And how does this whole thing work? In order to invest in the first place, you would commonly find what's called a broker. And with a broker, you would open a brokerage account. And through that account, you can invest. And throughout different countries and different regions, there are a lot of different brokers. It is best to find a broker which has knowledge of your country and the rules and laws of your country. Before you open an account, I would go talk to either my bank or a financial advisor in order for them to point me in the right direction. Also, before you sign investing through a regular broker, check if your country offers special investment accounts. It can be a smart move to fill these up first depending on how they are set up. These accounts often have an annual or lifetime contribution limit and sometimes rules about when you can withdraw the money. Even though they have these restrictions, it is worth investigating because using them even partly can save you a lot of tax and boost long-term returns. Just to name a few popular ones, have Fidelity, Vanguard, Charles Schwab, Nordnet, DeShiro, Saxo, and many more. The importance here is just to understand that you sign up at these brokers, you use your ID, your TIN number or CPR number, your personal tax number, so that the brokers know who you are and also so that they can report your earnings, your losses in order for your state to do your taxes. For the most part, this is completely automated and it's quite easy to use. The main thing is here that you go to a website, you sign up, fill in your information, open the account, then you can transfer money to it. Slash.